Good morning, everyone. I am CS Kajal Handewab from Jnandeep Academy, Pune, and today we will be talking about the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 14 December 2024. So there are pretty much interesting news today from a reader's perspective. First of all, we will be talking about High Court judge removal process. Then we will be talking about the neighbor first policy. Then we will be talking about WHO, and last we will be talking about a BNS provision, that is section 16(9). Okay. Now BNS is the 110% there will be questions asked on BNS. Okay. The reason being it is a new concept and questions will be expected because it is replacing the IPC, it is replacing sections of CRPC. So 110% you all can expect questions from BNS in your paper. Okay, now let's start. So the first one, we will be talking about High Court judge removal for hate speech. First, let's look into the news and then we will talk about the provisions. Okay. Now, there was a 6-member delegation of opposition MPs in Rajya Sabha. They moved a motion saying that the High Court, Allahabad's High Court judge, who is Shekhar Kumar Yadav, we want to remove him. We don't want to see him as the High Court judge. This is what the motion was passed. And why? Because he is engaging into hate speech and he is making all the communities against each other, which is also known as communal disharmony. Now, this is not allowed as per Constitution. This motion, it has been signed by 55 opposition MPs across the parties. Okay, so it's not a very small thing because removal of a High Court judge, this is something that is a huge thing because even in Constitution, it is not such an easy process. It requires a special majority, etc., etc. So this is something big that is happening here. Now, the opposition's move, it was prompted when Justice Yadav, he had made a remark about Muslims at an event that was organized by VHP. This was on 8th of December. So they have made a petition, a 21-page petition. They have made 3 allegations against the judge of Allahabad High Court. They said he is continuously engaging into hate speech and he is inciting. Inciting, what do you mean by inciting? He is conspirating or he is spreading hatred across various communities, which as per Constitution we all are supposed to say stay equally and in harmony. He is not following the Constitution. The petition says that these are the articles of Constitution that have been breached and as in according to these articles he is supposed to be removed because these articles provide enough grounds for that. Because as expected, a judiciary is supposed to be neutral, impartial. They should also maintain public trust. But Yadav is not doing that according to the petition. Now, they have said that the Rajya Sabha chairman, who is Mr. Dhankar, we spoke about Mr. Dhankar, there is a no trust notice that has been going on, okay? So they said that Dhankar should accept this motion and he should initiate proceedings to remove this particular judge. They also said that we need to take an inquiry and conduct into a conduct that how he is behaving. Is he okay as per the judicial ethics? Whatever the judiciary laws are, is he behaving accordingly? Okay, so we need to conduct an inquiry into that. Also, they said that he is behaving against the directive principles that are mentioned in the Constitution. Okay, Article 51 A. So, now what are directive principles? This we will be seeing in the next slide. But he is also behaving against that. They say one of the directive principles says it is compulsory, not compulsory, but it is advisory and suggestive that you need to maintain harmony. You need to maintain balance and peace. Even at the VHP function, Justice Yadav, he had said about UCC, Uniform Civil Code. He spoke about that and he also said that the main aim of UCC is to promote harmony, to promote brotherhood, to promote equality, secularism. He said all of that too. But then, of course, the opposition parties are somewhat against him and they are filing this allegation. Now, let's see what happens further. So now, how for us this is very important from exam point of view. Now, what is impeachment? We call it impeachment whenever we are removing a judge. We don't call it a removal. As per constitution, we call that an impeachment. So what is impeachment? You remove a judge, okay, either of the Supreme Court or High Court. This is huge. I'm again and again saying this is not such a small thing. So you remove that judge. Now, on what grounds can you remove him? You cannot remove him randomly. You need solid evidence, solid grounds for a judge ka impeachment. So either you prove it that there is misbehavior or there is incapacity, like he can no longer be the judge, or he has misbehaved, or else again you need to focus on his grave offenses, that he has done some serious offenses, he has misused his position as a judge, he is undermining the respect and the position, the level what a judge has, he is undermining that, or any of the contravention of the constitution's provisions. If any of this is done, a judge can be impeached. These are the articles. Now, how does this process begin? Now, this has to be a motion which is signed by 100 members of the Lok Sabha, number one, or 50 members of Rajya Sabha. Now, this motion which we were talking about, the Allahabad Justice Yadav, this motion is already signed by 55 members of Rajya Sabha. Okay. Now, this is submitted to the Speaker or Chairman. Speaker in case of Lok Sabha, Chairman in case of Rajya Sabha. Now, there is also an inquiry committee which is formed. It consists of a Supreme Court judge, a High Court Chief Justice, matlab a High Court main judge, and a jurist. So, these three are the inquiry committee. Now, what will the inquiry committee do? They will see what are the charges that have been framed by the opposition against him. Also, there will be an investigation that they will conduct. This copy of charges will be forwarded to the judge, and he will be given an opportunity that whatever you want to say against your defense, you may say it. So he will give a written defense submitted by him. Then a report is given to the Speaker or Chairman by this inquiry committee, whatever according to them their opinion is. Okay. So in short, the inquiry committee, which consists of the head High Court justice, then a Supreme Court judge, and a jurist, a special person who has a lot of knowledge in this field. So these are the three people. This inquiry committee, it looks into the matter that why this judge should be impeached. Has he gone against the constitution? They give an opportunity to this specific judge also that do you want to say anything in your defense to protect yourself? They will look into his application as well, and then finally whatever according to them the opinion is, they will forward it, okay, to the Speaker in case of Lok Sabha if the motion is moved in Lok Sabha. If the motion is moved in Rajya Sabha by 50 plus members, they will give it to the chairman. Okay. Now, if the inquiry committee feels that the judge is guilty, so both the houses of parliament can discuss the motion and then pass it. But if you want to pass such a motion of impeachment of a judge, it needs a special majority. Now, what is a special majority? First of all, majority of total membership of that particular house. I mean, if that motion is passed in Lok Sabha, so of that particular house, we will take the majority of the total membership. If it is passed in Rajya Sabha, that majority will be taken, number one. And then we will be taking a majority of at least 2/3 members present and voting. Now, I have already explained this concept to you. The special majority concept, we have spoken about it in one of the Hindu sessions very much in details. Okay. So, in short, what is a special majority? Number one, a special majority is whatever the total number of members are in a house. So like the total number of membership, okay, so uska majority you need, and plus whoever are present and voting, uska 2/3 you need. This is the special majority. Now, once the bill is passed in both the houses, the motion finally is given to the president. So Lok Sabha will pass it, Rajya Sabha will pass it, and then it will be given to the president. In both the houses, this is supposed to be the special majority. Number one, total membership ka half. And number two, 2/3 of present and voting. After that, the president will give its assent. Now, this is how a High Court judge or a Supreme Court judge is impeached. Now, if we talk about the directive principles, DPSP, this is directive principles for the of the state policy. Now, why is this done? These concepts, let me tell you what is the difference between fundamental rights and directive principles. So, directive principles are guidelines that have been given to the government. Why are they given to the government? To follow whatever actions that must be taken for a proper community development, for a nation's development, like equality, then regional development. There shouldn't be caste barriers. Then the minorities and the the people who have been ignored for so many years, they should be given special privileges. Children should be taken care of. There should be women and men should be given equal protection, equal rights. The environment should be protected. The police system should be in place. There shouldn't be corruption. Okay, so all these cases you require if you want a country to develop. So these are the directive principles that have been given in the Constitution. Now, these directive principles are not compulsory to follow. They are a suggestion. They are an advice, okay, that how a government is supposed to work. You cannot take the government to the court if the directive principles are not followed by them. As in case of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights, if they are breached, we can take that person to the court, correct? But in case of directive principles, you cannot do that. But they are suggestive in measure, in nature, and they are mostly, the government does try to follow this. So now, if we talk about the directive principles, the main aim is to create a welfare state, and there should be justice, economic as well as social for everyone. Now, this concept has been borrowed from Spanish and Irish constitutions. Okay, so now our constitution is made after being inspired by many other countries' constitution. It is a mixture. So the directive principle parts is taken from Spanish and Irish constitution. Also, as I said, they are not justiciable in court, but they have been instruments of instruction, and the government has been following that since independence. Next, we will be talking about the neighbor policy that India has been focusing on. So, Mr. Jai Shankar, he said that the government has promoted a lot of trade with its neighboring countries, and because of this trading that we are doing with our neighbors, our relations with them have been good. Now, why did he have to say this? So there was a Congress Chandigarh member of Parliament, Manish Tiwari. Manish Tiwari said that right now, whatever relationships India has with Maldives, Bangladesh and Nepal are not really good. We are anyways fighting against Maldives. Fighting as in, we are not really okay with them. We are promoting Andaman and Nicobar, and we are saying no to Maldives tourism. Then if we talk about Bangladesh, because of the change in government, when Sheikh Hasina government came out and a new government has been set up there. So Bangladesh has been doing many things that have been wrong, especially from India's perspective. Next, we will be talking about Nepal. Nepal, we are seeing extreme close ties with China. So relations with three of them are not really great right now. This is what Tiwari said. Our neighbors also have their own politics. So Jai Shankar had a reply. There are ups and downs in many of the countries. It will have consequences on us. So we need to be mature enough, and we do not need to get into punch scoring immediately. So India was the 8th country that the new president of Maldives visited after being elected as an Outs Indian campaign, and there were very severe economic compulsions. That's why he came. This is what Tiwari is saying, okay, that after he became president, he came to India as an 8th country. That too, we gave him a lot of economic compulsion. After that, he came to India. If we talk about China, once the Nepal prime minister was elected, the first country he visited was China. Also, they are talking about the Belt and Road Initiative that China and Nepal are sharing. Tiwari said that China has an upper hand when it comes to its relations with India's neighbors. He further said that Bangladesh, there is a turmoil that has been happening in Bangladesh. So, fine, India will have a neighborhood first policy, but is there any neighbor who's having an India first policy, who's giving us the preference? So, Jai Shankar said he would like to remind that Maldives is also the country from which Indian companies were driven out for an important project in 2012. So he is reminding, Jai Shankar is reminding the Congress of their times that in 2012 Congress was there in the picture. So that time there were Indian companies which were driven away from Maldives. Then if we talk about Sri Lanka, the Hambantota port, it was built by the Chinese. So China also had a great ties with Sri Lanka. And also Bangladesh, it was giving support to terrorism till 2005, after which our relations have improved with them. This is what Jai Shankar had to give a reply. Okay, now let's talk about the neighborhood first policy that India has been following since the beginning. So India is saying that instead of looking at the West, we will first look at our neighbors and we will have a good relationship with them. So because our immediate regions, are the neighbors. So we need to have a good balance with them, especially when it comes to defense. So they say that we will face economic and political challenges in neighboring countries, but again, we need to solve the border issues that we are having. We need to solve the regional issues that we are having with our neighbors. So recent shifts, if we talk about global and globally, there have been shifts in political scenarios, in economic scenarios. So India is getting again an opportunity that, okay, now the shifts are different. Now the global balances are becoming different. So now we need to alter the neighborhood first policy according to the current situation. Because there is a lot of Chinese influence in our region, okay, in the South Asian region. So if we want to reduce this Chinese influence, we have to create a warmth in our relations with our neighbors and the entire neighborhood if we want the Chinese influence to come down. Also, we share our boundaries with so many countries. We share it with Afghanistan, we share it with Bangla, we share it with Bhutan. Right now, we have great relations with Bhutan. We share it with China, we share it with Maldives, Myanmar, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. So we are sharing our borders with many countries. And I think, as we all know, our relations are not great with most of the countries listed here. So we need to renew our neighborhood policy. If not shut it, or if not change it completely, we just need to renew it as per the current situation. Okay, next news we will be talking about, there have been 30 people who are drowning per hour in 2021, says World Health Organization. First, I'll tell you all the news and then we will be talking about WHO. So, as per WHO, there was a report in Geneva. They say that 3 lakh people died by drowning in 2021. Now, guys, 3 lakh is huge, which means an estimated 30 every hour. Every single hour, 30 people are dying just by drowning in the world. Now, there are 92% of such deaths took place in the middle income countries, the low income countries. And it was just the poor people who are suffering from this. It was just 8% deaths which took place in good and developed nations. Okay. Now, if we talk about the South Asia region, which includes India too, we only saw 83,000 deaths. Like, not only, that is huge, 83,000 deaths, or we can also talk about 28% if we talk in the percentage part. When this entire survey was going on, there were 139 countries that participated, and WHO included India too in that. So the report find out that the drowning deaths are declining, no doubt. They declined 38% since 2000. But if you compare the progress, that is pretty much slow. We should have been at a much better position right now. The WHO's European region, for instance, they saw a 68% drop. While the Southeast Asia region, okay, which has more of poor and marginalized people, they saw a 48% decline. And European, it's almost a 70% decline. Now, and the people who are mainly at risk are children and young people. Young people. So children who are aged under 5, they were the maximum. Because the deaths due to drowning, this was the maximum in children who are 1 to 4 years old. 24% death was because of that. Also, 5 to 14 years old ka children, there was 19% deaths, and above 14, it was 14% among the youth who are aged 14 to 20. Let's consider 15 to 25. So these are the 3 categories that the WHO gave a result in. So under 5, there were 24%. Then 5 to 14 years old, there were 19% of deaths. And 15 to 29-year-olds, 14% people died in this age gap. Okay, so these are the results of WHO. The report, it does not include the deaths that happen due to natural disasters like floods and everything. This is so not even included. Floods, or in case of water transport, like if someone is going through a ship or a boat and an accident takes place. So all this is not included here. Why? Because there is a lack of data. We don't have much data about this. There is a lot of increase in flooding because of the climate change that has been happening, and 75% of deaths out there are happening because of drowning. So this is a priority that we need to prevent this ASAP. Only 33% of countries have the training that have been given to people for rescue in such situations, and only 22% include swimming, water safety instructions in their school curriculum. So from school only, how to swim, then in case of such issues, how to rescue, then water safety instructions, all this should be given in school itself. Only then we will have a proper data. Also, when people come up to a young age, they will realize what all this is, because many of our schools even do not have swimming as a compulsory option. Now, more than 7.2 million people, mainly children, they could die because of this drowning. And this drowning, we are calling this as a silent killer. They could die by the year 2025 if the current trends continue. Imagine 7.2 million people. Yet, almost all drowning deaths are preventable just by teaching them, just by giving them the proper training. If the political leadership wills to, and if they are ready to invest in drowning prevention, this can definitely save lives. So many lives will be saved. This is a very much preventable killer. Now, we need to even provide daycare for preschool children. Then we need to provide basic swimming skills to the students who are at school. This could definitely help millions of lives. Okay, now what is World Health Organization? This was established in 1948. Now it is a part of UN. World Health Organization, it talks about, the name itself says, it talks about promoting health, keeping the world safe so that everyone can attain social equality and a healthy life. So the main purpose of this is all about health, the highest level of health. World Health Organization, it has 194 member states. The highest decision-making body is the WHA, that is the Assembly, World Health Assembly. The Secretariat is responsible. Whatever the WHO will tell them, the Secretariat will do those works. Also DG, he heads the WHA, DG. And he also has a team which will help him. Regional offices, it has 6 regional offices. One is in Africa, the other one is in America, then Southeast Asia, Europe, Eastern Mediterranean and Western Pacific. These are the regional offices of WHO which you all should be aware of. Then they meet annually once in a year and they set policies, they approve budgets, that what all can they do to improve the health situations throughout the world, especially the Asian and African countries, because they need the medical facilities the most. They also elect the DG. Okay, so there are many more things about World Health Organization that you all should be knowing. So we can create a basic reels about this or basic informative video on this, which we will, because WHO is very, very important. It takes care and its main aim is to serve highest level of health throughout the world. Okay. Please study a bit about WHO. We will also create videos on the same. Okay, now we will be talking about an editorial section. So, on 31st July, there was this is a story. First, I'll tell you all, this is all about the story, and then I'll tell you all that why is this story coming up, or why all of this has come up in the editorial. Okay. Now, there was a 25-year-old lady. She was from Jharkhand. She filed an FIR. She accused a man who is engaging with her in physical relationships, and he's pretending that he will be getting married to her. So the woman claimed in that FIR that the man, who is 26-year-old, she knows him since college time. So it's a long time that she knows him. And on multiple occasions, that guy has come at her house. He has wished to marry her. He has even spoken to her mother, where he explicitly said that do not get her married anywhere else, as he intends to do it. Now, the woman stated in her FIR that she was even introduced to his mother, and even his mother had supported this union. She claimed that the man and his mother, they went back on their words, and the commitment they had given, they stepped back. So she was filing a case under Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita, BNS, which has replaced IPC. Very important, 110% there will be questions asked from BNS, 110%. Because as I said, this is a new concept. So Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita, there will be questions asked on the same. Okay, so and yes, the government is looking forward a lot. Since a long time they wanted to change the criminal laws in our country, and the Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita, according to the existing government, these are the best that a country could have. So 100% there will be questions asked about BNS. So IPC has been replaced by BNS. The trial is still going on, but right now, of course, the man is on bail. So now we'll talk about the section 69 of BNS. Many petitions have been filed against this section. Also, there is a website, change.org. Even on that, there are many people who are signing this petition to change this section. That is why this section has been included in your newspaper, and that is why we are discussing it here. So if we talk about section 69, this criminalizes any sexual intercourse that is giving a deceitful. What is deceitful? That is giving a fake. A fake means and cites the promise to marry a woman without any intention. So if I tell you this in Marathi, fasawnuk. Okay, this is what this section means. So if you are if anybody is fooling a person that they will be getting married to that person, but they do not have any such intentions, okay, but they are just fooling around to get into a physical relationship with them, that is an offense, and that is enough grounds for imprisonment of 10 years and also a fine. While this is not treated as rape, initially this was treated as rape, right now no, but it is considered as inducement, okay, and this also applies to false promise of employment or promotion or marrying by suppressing identity. So even in certain corporates, if anybody is pressurizing the other person, okay, that he or she will get employment, he or she will get promotion, but at the cost of giving away their dignity, at the cost of building a physical relationship. So even this is covered under this particular section. Before the BNS came into picture, we had IPC, and up to 40% of all rape case allegations were pertained to either a friend. So out of 100, the 40 allegations considering this crime, it was either against a friend, or either it was against a live-in partner, or a separated husband, or such people who are in a known circle. So this is as per the records of NCRB, that is National Crime Records Bureau. Okay, so this is the data of 2016 to 2022. Prior to enactment of BNS, these cases were registered under 376 section. Now, what was this section? This was a section of rape. Also, another section was there, section 90, which said that a person is creating fear or a person is creating a misconception. फसवणूक होती है, and that is why this imprisonment will be very harsh. Okay, so before BNS, this was the section. So as I said, after BNS, this is not considered as rape, it is considered as inducement. But previously, such actions were considered as rape. Okay. Now, also Advocate Nadda, who says, who was representing the accused man in Jharkhand, effectively the two IPC sections, now they are forming the base of section 69, the new section of BNS. Okay, now Ravi Kant, who is an advocate, he said that an international not-profit offering pro bono services, he works for a particular project which offers services. Pro bono as in, like they do not charge much for it and they do it on their own. They take up these cases on their own. So he explains the difference between the two sections. He says that this is a new offense because they have used words like deceitful. Deceitful means by cheating. They have used words like inducement. They have used words like false promises. This is not rape. Okay, this is what he has clarified. Just what I explained to you all. Also, another difference is, if a relationship has lasted for many years and then a woman claimed that she was cheated, a person had promised her to marry her and then she was cheated, so the court typically dismissed such cases. It was reasoned that why? Because in a long-term relationship, there is a mutual understanding, there is a mutual consent. So if a long-term relationship, a person cannot fake so much, a person cannot do fraud for such a long time. This is what the courts used to consider previously. But now, even if the relationship was consensual, it was mutually, it was a long-term one, it will be treated as an offense. Why? Just because of one word, that is deceitful, means deception. They didn't get married, though there was a promise that they will get married, but they didn't. So previously this wasn't a crime, but right now this is a crime. Then on 26 November, the Supreme Court flagged a worrying trend of criminalizing long-term consensual relationships after they turn sour. So what generally happens if a relationship is lasting for a long term? Later on, it might turn bitter. Later on, it might not be great the way it was previously. So initially, when somebody has said that they are going to get married, they gave a commitment. But later on, when the relationship dies down, one of the partners is not okay with what is happening and they want to walk off from the relationship. But then the other one, they can use this section and they can file a case against them that this person is leaving me, though he had promised to get married to me. So this is extremely worrying, okay, this trend. This is what the Supreme Court said. Okay, now a journalist says that the new law inherently is very gender biased. It suggests that the women do not have decisions when it comes to all these matters. Why? Because she said that she even started an online petition, which I just spoke about on this particular website, that section 69 should be repealed. And already 60,000 signatures have been signed. Her contention in the petition is that a relationship where two people are together on their own, by their own consent, it is made on a promise of marriage, okay? It will be a crime only if the man is backing out. There is no provision about what if the woman backs out. Can a man file a case against the woman? Okay, does the woman have any, if the woman is walking out, if the woman is not okay with being with the man, and she had promised him previously, she had given a commitment to him. Okay, but now she's walking off from the relationship. Under BNS, under section 69, that is not punishable. It is punishable only when a man walks out. Okay, so she is against this, that the gender biasness is not good. Also, the report stated that criminalizing a promise to marry, it can, like an individual's right to privacy. Previously, this wasn't such a crime if it is a long-term relationship. But right now, if a person wants to even commit to get married to someone in future, it might get into his privacy. He might get scared, because what if in future this doesn't work out and she goes under section 69, she files a case under section 69, so that will go against him. So you cannot make a legally binding promise. That is very confusing, that is very vague, because even after marriages there are cases of divorce. So before marriages only, you can't have a legal binding promise that yes, I will get married to you. So this is open to interpretation. It could definitely, while enforcing these laws, the judges can have their own judgments, and accordingly the laws can be interpretation can be done. And a verbal intention to marry, verbally a person is just saying, that could also be a challenge during the evidence collection, that a girl is saying that he had promised, but the guy is saying that no, he didn't. So all these issues will be there. Now, there was another judgment. If we talk about the previous ones, if we talk about Gujarat, there was a case when a man failed to marry a woman. He had made a promise, so that time he was not held guilty. But if we talk about the Kerala High Court, there were criminal proceedings that were against a priest. He was accused of raping a woman after promising that he will get married to her. Now, while the entire plea was being discussed, so the allegation, there was a trial happened, and the priest was punished. He wasn't like he was held guilty for this particular thing. So if we talk about section 69, these are the two different decisions that are being made on a very similar case. So section 69 is trying to close down the gaps and the confusions, and let's come on a common ground. So they have come on a common ground of false pretenses. If there is a promise of marriage or any other deceitful means, there will be punishment. This is what section 69 says. Also, it morally talks about the consent of women, because they haven't spoken much about what are the men rights. Also, by introducing section 69, the BNS is criminalizing any such acts. They are punishing the people who are doing such acts. So in September, there was a PIL filed before the Kerala High Court that under this BNS, LGBT community is not included. Now, when LGBT is not included, it is against the constitution, because constitution says that equal protection laws should be in place. Okay, so this PIL has also been filed. So this was all about section 69. Now let's see what happens in Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, because it's a new law. There will be many changes that will be coming for the next 1 year at least. Okay. So yes, guys, that's it. We'll stop for the day, and I will see you all next week for the Hindu analysis. Thank you so much.